Bonjour, Year 11. I hope you had a good half term and managed to do something a little bit out of the ordinary. And I hope you're managing to stay sane and keep each other sane in this mad world in which we live in. Hopefully we'll be back to school and be seeing each other soon. If you haven't done the KIP quiz already, then please pause the video and do that now. And please get the date and title down in your book. The objectives today are to make connections between word types and understand unseen text using cognates and words within words, and also to be able to discuss problems facing the world. Okay, so anytime you need to pause the video, please do. You're in control of that, including now if you haven't got that down already, because I'm about to move on to the next slide. Okay, so I want you to copy down these two titles into your book. You can set it out as a table, or you can just make two lists. It's absolutely up to you. I want you to divide these things into catastrophes naturelles, so natural catastrophes, things that occur through nature, and problèmes provoqués par l'homme, problems provoked by man, so man-made problems basically. And then underneath each of those you're going to write down these in French, into which category they go into, and then in brackets write what you think that means in English as well, and then we'll go through them. Okay, so pause the video now and then do that exercise, and then we'll go through the answers. Okay, so here's the answers. So underneath natural catastrophes, we've got un typhon, des inondations, la sécheresse, un tremblement de terre, and un incendie. Notice they've said that a fire, an incendie, could go in either column, and arguably lots of these might be able to go in other columns as well. You might say that, you know, the reason we've got floods is because of climate change, which is caused by, you know, all the stuff that we do, and etc. But generally speaking, this is where they should be. Okay, so on the problème provoqué par l'homme, we've got le déboisement, un fuite de pétrole, la pollution de l'air, la destruction de la couche d'ozone, and un incendie, which I explained over there. Okay, so mark all of those, write down the English as well if you haven't got those, or correct it with your purple pen. Pause the video here if you need more time, because I'm going to move on. Okay, we know how this works now. I'm going to say one of these sentences, and all I want you to do is write down which issue from the final column that I've said in the sentence. So not only the other stuff, okay, yeah, of course I want you to listen to that, but I also want you to pick out the thing that I said last in the sentence and write that down in your books in English. Okay, so every time I say, and the answer, if you haven't written down the answer, that you need to pause the video, okay? So, number one, le plus grand problème pour la planète, c'est le déboisement. Le plus grand problème pour la planète, c'est le déboisement. Okay, and the answer, deforestation, le désherbement. Okay, this one. Le plus grand problème pour la planète, c'est la guerre. Le plus grand problème pour la planète, c'est la guerre. Okay, and I said war. That's for you. Next one. Autre problème pour la planète, c'est la pollution de l'air. Autre problème pour la planète, c'est la pollution de l'air. Okay, and the answer, I said, air pollution. Okay, what I want you to do now is just tell me which sentence starter I used, whether I said the biggest problem or whether I said another problem, and then which of the nouns that I said at the end as well. Okay, so both pieces of that information, but same activity. Okay, first one. Le plus grand problème pour la planète, c'est la destruction de forêts tropicales. Okay. Le plus grand problème pour la planète, c'est la destruction des forêts tropicales. Okay, and what I said was the biggest problem and the destruction of the tropical rainforests. That shouldn't have a d and a d as well. So 1 second, what's correct that? There we go. That wouldn't have affected your answer, but you might have noted it down incorrectly later when we do the French bit. So there we go. Right. Autre problème pour ma région, c'est le changement climatique. Autre problème pour la planète, c'est le changement climatique. And the answer, I said, oops. Autre problème, and I said, le changement climatique. So another problem and climate change. Right, next one. Le plus grand problème pour ma région, c'est le déboisement. Le plus grand problème pour la planète, c'est le déboisement. And the answer, I said the biggest problem, I said deforestation. Okay. I'm going to do some dictations now. So I'm going to say the French and you write down the French. Okay. We're going to do a couple of these with us on the board and then we're going to take them off. Okay. So your first sentence is le plus grand problème pour la planète, c'est la guerre. Le plus grand problème pour la planète, c'est la guerre. And the answer, you should have the biggest problem, le plus grand problème pour la planète, c'est la guerre. Okay, next one. Autre problème pour la planète, c'est le changement climatique. Autre problème pour la planète, c'est le changement climatique. And the answer, another problem for the planet is climate change. Okay, notice you've got the in front each time in French, but not necessarily in English. Okay, next one. Le plus grand problème pour la planète, c'est des inondations. Le plus grand problème pour la planète, c'est des inondations. And the answer, le plus grand problème pour la planète, c'est des inondations. Okay, notice it's, if we say you're inundated in English, we often say we're inundated with responses or paperwork or something like that. That means that it's all just getting on top of you and there's just too much. And they use it specifically for water in French. Okay. So I'm going to take the French away now and see if we can still write down the French. Okay. Le plus grand problème pour la planète, c'est la pollution de l'air. Le plus grand problème pour la planète, c'est la pollution de l'air. And the answer, le plus grand problème pour la planète, c'est la pollution de l'air. Okay. Next one. Autre problème pour la planète, c'est le déboisement. Autre problème pour la planète, c'est le déboisement. The answer. Autre problème pour la planète, c'est le déboisement, deforestation. Okay. Last one of these then. Autre problème pour la planète, c'est le changement climatique. Autre problème pour la planète, c'est le changement climatique. And the answer. Autre problème pour la planète, c'est le changement climatique. Okay, so notice the climate is after the change, like it often is, and it's one of those eek words like musique, which are all spelled like that in French. Okay. My apologies, I just noticed a mistake there for the pour moi. So I had the word region on from the previous, so I've deleted that for you now. Again, that wouldn't have changed any of your answers up until now, but I didn't want to confuse you. Okay, what we're going to do now is I'm going to say one of these sentences without the stuff on the board. I'm going to say it in English, and I want you to write down the French. Okay, so here's the first one. The biggest problem for the planet is deforestation. Remember to put the in there, the deforestation. So, the biggest problem for the planet is deforestation. And the answer. Le plus grand problème pour la planète, c'est le déboisement. Okay, notice the accent on the bois and the e, which makes it boisement as opposed to boisement. Okay. Okay, next one. Another problem for the planet is climate change. Another problem for the planet is climate change. And and the answer. Autre problème pour la planète, c'est le changement climatique. Autre problème pour la planète, c'est le changement climatique. Okay, and the last one then. The biggest problem for the planet is flooding. The biggest problem for the planet is flooding, the floods. Okay, and the answer. Autre problème pour la planète, c'est des inondations. Inondation, sorry. Okay, move on to the next exercise. Obviously, if you need to correct any of those, please do it with a purple pen. Please feel free to pause the video where you wish. Okay, so in this next exercise, we're doing a narrow reading as we did before. You're looking to see which of the texts are different, and you should write down sentences like Pierre says that blah, 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 if he said something different to all the others, or Marie thinks that's what I want. I want it in sort of a sentence that shows you've understood the French passage, but your sentence should be in English. It's a fairly short text, so there's only 3 differences in there. Okay, so you should have 3 sentences explaining what the difference is from the text in English. Pause the video now, and then we'll go through the answers. And here are the answers. Okay, so Dominique says that it isn't serious. We wouldn't say grave in English. We might say grave mistake, but we wouldn't say it isn't grave in English. We'd say it isn't serious. Marie thinks that the biggest problem is climate change, and Enrique says that another problem is deforestation instead of the fires that the rest of them mention. Okay, so again, tick each of those, and then we'll move on. Okay, so in the next exercise, very similar text to what's just come up. It's a bad translation, so there's a number of mistakes in the translation that I've made from the French into English. So there's a number of different ways you can do this. You can write the whole text out in English, correcting the translations that I've done from French. You can write the whole text out in French, correcting the translations from the English to the French, or the really challenging one, and the one that I want you doing, particularly if you're the higher students, or just if you think you're up to the challenge, is you write out the text and you swap the oh no, my bad, sorry. Basically you do both, okay? So you'd write out the text in English once with all the translations, and you write the text in French as well with all the translations. Okay, so pause the video now so you can do that. Okay, and here are the answers. If you translate it into English, here's your translations for that one. Okay, so pour la planète, so the planet, la pollution de l'air. Oh no, I didn't choose that, sorry. Another problem is fires, etc. You can change this now. Other way around, pause if you need to. Okay, so there you go. Pour ma région. I said for my reason, I said climate change. I did change it, so le changement climatique. There you go. And the déboisement, remembering to get your accent on the déboisement, it's not déboisement, it's déboisement. As with forêt, you've got the what I call the hat, the chevron on top of the E. Okay, well done if you got all of those. And so to finish, what I'd like you to do is I would like you to write out a very similar text, about the same length. You can change, keep the main parts of the text the same, so like in my opinion and the biggest problem, but you can change the for my region to for the planet. You can give different problems. If you're feeling really confident and you're able to change the what we should do using the information you've got from previous lessons, then do that as well. But make sure that you've mentioned at least 3 different environmental problems. Okay, and then we're done. So when you've done that, make sure you take a photo of your work and upload it via Google Classrooms. And I'll speak to you next lesson. Thank you very much for your work. Merci pour le travail. Et au revoir.